The feeling of faith is a sacred experience. To feel faith's presence around you and within you, and to know what that faith really is as this powerful divine energy that allows you to stay connected to God, is something that we can all contemplate. When we have this feeling of faith, we know that anything is possible in God and by God's grace. When we have the feeling of faith, we can rise into a new determination to fulfill our divine plan and to accomplish anything that God asks us to do. Does God ask us to do things? Of course. Sometimes it's the voice of our I Am Presence. Sometimes it may be an ascended master, sponsor. Sometimes it may be our own inner teacher, our own inner voice and conscience. Yet God is asking, and are we listening? And then do we reply? Do we respond? If we have the feeling of faith around us and within us at a certain level of vibration and a frequency, we will be able to hear, we will be responsive, and we will then act, because faith impels us to act. It is the precursor to dynamic action. We have to have the faith that we can accomplish something, and then when we have that indomitable spirit and that energy that faith is, then when we act, victory is manifesting through our actions, because that faith carries us through the dynamics of the experience, of the work, the service, whatever it is, to its conclusion, to its victorious finality. When we have faith in God, we also have faith in ourselves, because we are connected to God through that faith, and then we do not have the doubt or the fear that assails us, that prevents us from manifesting what we set out to accomplish. When you have enough faith born in God and of God, it's sufficient to see you through to anything that you desire to manifest. When you have enough faith, you can precipitate. Now, we don't always know necessarily how to do certain things, yet we are learning. And when you have absolute 100% faith, let's say that your prayer for someone's healing will manifest, it sets in motion the sacred dynamic that God is in that moment, in the I Am name and the I Am flame, restoring that person to perfect health and vitality. Now, this has to always occur according to God's will, because we don't humanly know always what is possible according to the divine plan of that one. Yet, I believe that at times, even the intense faith that someone has for another can make the difference to set in motion a miracle, a seeming miracle. So I have faith today that Mashid and your husband, Kamal, through his surgery in Australia, near Melbourne, will be healed or brought into greater balance and harmony in his four lower bodies by God's grace. I have faith that Philip Gabbert will have the restoration of what is required within his mouth and his teeth for perfect dental health and well-being. I have faith that Julie Anderson will have restored unto her, by God's grace, perfect mental health, wellness, stability, equanimity in her thought and feeling world. I have faith that God is overshining Larry Colsey in potentially his final days on earth and sealing him and his children and his extended family in the light, so that when it is his time to make his transition, everything will be in accord through the flame of love with those surrounding him who love him, and that the angels will be there to escort his soul at the appropriate moment to the highest places of light in the etheric planes, that he is allowed to go based on his life, his decisions, his work and service. And I have faith now that what you have faith in is being manifest now. So visualize, accept, see with clarity anything that you place your attention upon as manifesting as a reality, and also feel the upsurge of faith's presence, faith's energy, faith's restorative power blazing through your chakras, your aura, and flowing into that which you set your heart, your mind, your will to in God's presence to be so. And so it is, as those in certain circles say. Let's say it together. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. When we say it is, and so it is a reality. We are claiming, affirming that it is a manifestation in that moment, really in the I am name. Faith says that we settle for less in our lives than we could have if we had the faith that God is always acting through us, manifesting around us and within us, and that we have nothing to fear. There is absolutely nothing to fear in our lives for our future, our financial situation, anything, if we will simply step into the flow field of faith and have the belief and acceptance and the understanding through that acceptance that the all power of God is sufficient to manifest what we require. We settle for less because we think that somehow we have to do everything humanly when everything is already set before us. The table is already set. Every day of our lives, we just have to sit down and enjoy the meal in God's presence, say the blessing, and eat and dine. God provides for all of us if we will accept the providence and the love within that providing spirit that God is offering to us. We shun it sometimes through our lack of faith, our non-belief, our non-acceptance, our doubt, our fear. 10 minutes visualizing faith and the power of this blue flame energy around you and manifesting through you before you engage in some work or service will empower you to be in that spirit that will take you into the dicey matters that you may have to enter into so that perfection can flow and manifest, and you can see the forest through the trees and the victory assured. If an iota of doubt or fear enters into the equation, you discolor the dynamism and the clarity of the perfectionment of that alchemy, and then don't be surprised when things don't turn out as they could and really should if you had the faith that they will manifest. With God, all things are possible. This is a statement of faith. With God in me, all things are manifesting now. Faith says we can also acclaim. After we say, with God, all things are possible. That is the alpha statement, and the acceptance then of it as a reality is the omega completion of that first affirmation. We don't leave it as, with God all things are possible. We have to co-create with God and make them a reality through action, through faith applied. Right?
Right.
The application of faith is where initiates are born, challenged, and where masters are refined in the refiner's fire of action. And if you don't feel like you're an initiate yet, then invoke faith to help you to rise into that state where you can be an initiate, a disciple of the Word, the living Word, and follow the example of Jesus, the living Christ, all the way through to the final initiations, the transfiguration, the crucifixion, resurrection, and ascension. These four major initiations that we must go through to have our victory. Each one is important. And notice that before the crucifixion, you have the transfiguration, which is an important initiation to give you the energy to coalesce that white light around you so that when you go through the testing of the crucifixion, you will have the wherewithal to make it because you are first bathed in that indomitable crystalline light of the transfiguration. Jesus went through it. 3 were there to observe it, I believe. James, Peter, John, right? If my memory serves me well from Scripture. And then Moses appeared, and John the Baptist, I think, appeared up on the mount of the Transfiguration. And they saw Jesus glistening in light as he spoke with them. He was in his light body, the Merkabah that he already built or co-created with God over a number of lifetimes, and especially in the lifetime as Jesus, to prepare for his final part of his mission in that part of the world, in Palestine, Judea, etc. Now, are you building your Merkabah, your light body, through faith and acceptance and belief to the point where it is spinning around you and you are so full of energy and charged with light that whatever you enter into becomes dynamically charged with the essence of your divine presence, so that it can employ God's Spirit through you to be magnanimous, joyous, fun-loving, happy, and full of grace, like Mary? Hail Mary, full of grace. I choose to be full of grace, like Mary. And I know many of you have chosen this too. You desire that grace. You desire light, love, divine affection toward every being. In the sovereign nature of your I am presence manifesting through you, you are always victorious. Nothing can assail your victory in that spirit of divine joy. Yet it is always a choice to be or not to be in that spirit. And the choice is where masters are created. Every choice that we make. Saint Germain made 2,000, or was it 2 million right decisions? 2 million right decisions. 2 million right decisions. At every point, he could have opted for something less or something greater. He opted for the greater and made the right decision that moved him into that state of perfect being in his presence, and affirming again and again, I am a son of God, I am light, I am the alchemy of joy. Until that alchemy sang through him and spun through him new worlds of consciousness and energy patterns of light, violet light, which he then was able to share with humanity because he was the flame of freedom. He was Aquarius manifest as divine love. He became the God of love to the earth, the great Aquarian master, through his affection toward God and toward every human being and life form. He came to set life free, to set on fire many through the gift of the violet flame. And he is still working with us to liberate us from limitation and a sense of being separate from God that we sometimes enter into because it is part of the entropy and the ennui of life on earth. This state of being kind of in the retard of the slowness of the lesser self. We have to embrace the greater self through energizing and activating the light patterns and the cosmic engrams of our presence within us, and charge that spirit into the earth through our raised voices, where you can feel the energy of spirit pouring through you, activating things dynamic around the world. You see how the Master does it through me? You can do that, and many of you do. So affirm and reaffirm the greatest, the best, the brightest, the most beloved, the new earth, the Aquarian planet, as a reality now. And as you affirm and reaffirm it with Saint Germain, the divine director, Archangel Michael and Faith, so it is. And so it is together. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is. The power of your presence is so great that if you felt it for one instant in its infinitude, it would transport you into the great central sun, and you would have the supercharging, dynamic amplification of the light to where you will never accept something less than perfection again. And if you would have that awareness and that state of being, it is a choice. You can go to the great central sun right now in an instant in your consciousness and accept that reality, and then bring it back, feel it, and activate it every day. It doesn't mean that you're always shouting at people like I am right now. You can do this in stillness and enjoy, if you're a woman, and the gentility of how you interact and speak with people. Yet internally, that fire is blazing because you are connected to God and you feel who you are as the reality of your true nature. Some people don't like to decree as we just decreed because their nature is more genteel. Yet I can assure you that even those of you who don't like to do that normally, when you do it occasionally, there is an activation of something that is powerful that then will carry through your life to help you to overcome those things which at times assail you or tempt you or make you sick or ill or feeling less than you truly are. So even the humble, gentle, sweet-speaking ladies in our midst, and some of you guys even, can benefit from this fire that the Masters employ at times to burn up stuff that you don't even know is there assailing you. On the astral, in your mental body, that you've incorporated into your emotional body and allowed to kind of sit there and just reside as this coagulating astral muck that really has to go and be gone forever. So faith is burning out of all of us. Our self-doubt, our doubt about our path, our doubt about the future, our doubt about this president or this economy or whatever it is, and saying, acclaim who you are in the I am name, affirm who you are within God's presence, be who you are as you are always meant to be, shine forth your light, be bright, be real, be true to yourself and to all others, for then thou canst not be untrue to any other man. You must be true to all. If you're true to yourself, then you have to be true toward all. We're studying in this month, and this is the last day of the month, and if you haven't watched Romeo and Juliet, here's a final reminder on behalf of Miriam Harris. Next month she'll have another Shakespeare play for us to watch and to cognize, think about, ruminate on what the Master Saint Germain, through the vehicle of these plays, was trying to tell us. So I look forward to Miriam's next sharing, because I always feel a lot of light when she speaks and the joy that she has in her heart. So I hope you too will take heart in these 3 years and watch these Shakespearean plays. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, maybe later in our service we'll play one of the little excerpts from Miriam sharing about this month's play, Romeo and Juliet. Very apt and appropriate for Aquarius, God love. Thank you, Faith, for being here today with us and the energy that you poured forth through all of us to charge the earth with sacred fire.